Today I'm going to introduce 6 low-calorie high-protein bowl recipes. They are super simple and can be made in about 20 minutes, so please give them a try. First up, we'll make a chicken and fluffy egg bowl. When it comes to low-calorie high-protein meals, chicken breast is a must, right? Today, the chicken is important, but there is a secret to the fluffy eggs we'll make later that will make this combination absolutely delicious, so don't miss it. You can make a big batch of these recipes in advance and store them in the refrigerator or freezer, so they are perfect for meal prep. To cook the chicken quickly, I recommend cutting it into thin slices like this. Then season it with salt, pepper, and minced garlic, and rub it in well. A little ginger might be nice too if you like. And let's prepare the sauce in advance. Mix soy sauce, sake, mirin, and sugar in the bowl. Add just a little potato starch and mix well. I used to coat the chicken breast in potato starch and cook it in a small amount of oil, but it didn't turn out very well. So when I want to cook chicken breast in a healthy way, I add the potato starch to the sauce instead. Now that the sauce is ready, let's get the eggs ready to cook. Today we are adding soy milk to the eggs. Add beet sugar or honey, and a pinch of salt. Adding soy milk prevents the egg white and yolks from separating and creates a smoother, fluffier texture. It also adds a rich flavor from the soy milk, making it taste deeper and more delicious. We'll cook this later. First, let's heat a little oil in a fry pan and cook the chicken. Cook over medium heat until the surface is slightly browned. Chicken breast can get tough if it's overcooked, so reduce the heat to low immediately after flipping it. Then cover and steam it. This will make it fluffy. After steaming for about 2 minutes, remove the lid and add the sauce we made earlier. Coat the chicken in the sauce and simmer lightly. Once it's coated, remove the meat immediately before it gets tough. Next, let's make a scrambled egg. Heat the fry pan well, then pour in the egg mixture all at once. And scramble it immediately. Once it's cooked to your liking, turn off the heat. It's so fluffy and milky because we added soy milk. Put a small amount of rice in a bowl and top it with shredded cabbage to add volume. Of course, if you don't like cabbage, you can skip it. Top it with the chicken and simmer the remaining sauce in the pan until it's thick and pour it over the meat. Top it with the fluffy, creamy egg and it's done. You can sprinkle a little green onion on top for color. Next up, let's make a healthy ginger pork bowl. First, let's thinly slice the onion. Ginger pork or shogayaki in Japanese, is a very popular and classic pork dish in Japan. It's usually made with thinly sliced pork loin, but today we are going to make it healthier by using pork tenderloin. Tenderloin is the healthiest part of the pork and has the most protein. Slicing it thinly like this makes it really easy to eat and the flavor sucks in really well. Put the onion and pork in a bowl and add grated ginger, sake, mirin, soy sauce, and sugar. I'm going to add just a little bit of oyster sauce as a secret ingredient. Mix it well. Fresh ginger is always the best, so please use fresh ginger if you have it. I always end up with leftover ginger and hate to waste it, so I end up buying the tube kind. It's good to let it marinate for about 10 minutes, but since we've sliced the pork tenderloin very thinly and we are going to cook the onion first, we can start cooking right away after mixing lightly. Let's cook the onion in the fry pan first. Since I want the onion to be soft, I'll add the pork later so it doesn't get tough. The onion might burn a little because it's coated in the seasoning. But I think it'll be okay if you cook it over low heat. Once the onion is softened, add the pork. I've only added a little oil. Since we're adding it with the sauce, it shouldn't burn easily. The pork tenderloin is so soft and fluffy, it's amazing. Is this type of pork easy to find where I live? It's great for protein, but more importantly, it has the lowest fat content of any part of the pork. But the meat is so tender and delicious, I really recommend it. Spread the pork out so it doesn't overlap and cook it evenly. And that's it. Our healthy ginger pork is done. Since ginger pork is often served with shredded cabbage, it's perfect to put cabbage on top of the rice. You can pour the sauce directly over the meat, but I added a little bit of water and potato starch to thicken it slightly before pouring it over the meat. Sprinkle with green onions and garnish with pickled ginger and it's finished. Next up, let's make a healthy Soboro bowl. You might think it looks simple and tastes bland, but it's incredibly delicious, so you definitely have to try it. We are going to use tofu to bulk it up. We'll use about 100 grams. Wrap it in paper towels and place a heavy bowl or plate on top. Let it sit for a while to squeeze out as much water as possible from the tofu. Gently squeeze it until the water is removed from the tofu and it becomes smaller like this. If you prepare this tofu in advance, you can make it whenever you want. And of course, it's delicious with or without tofu, so use it as you like. We'll use onion as our vegetable. Chop it finely. Once it's cut this finely, put it in a frying pan and fry it. Add just a little oil. By the way, Soboro is a very popular meat dish in Japan. Sweet and salty seasoned minced chicken is the standard, but it's called Soboro no matter what kind of minced meat you use, whether it's beef, pork, or chicken. It might not be familiar, but minced fish or shrimp that have been boiled and flaked can also be called Soboro. And there is also something called tamago Soboro, which is made with eggs. What they all have in common is that these ingredients are cooked either plain or seasoned until there is no more liquid and they become crumbly. Once the onion is soft, add the minced meat. I'm using minced chicken breast. You can use any kind you like. Turn off the heat and add the seasonings, grated ginger, garlic, miso paste, oyster sauce, soy sauce, mirin, and shantan. Use stock powder or bouillon. Add them all and turn on the heat. Then mix well. Soboro is often made with minced meat that has a fair amount of fat, but I recently started making it with this super healthy chicken breast. I've made adjustments to the seasoning, so even though it's very low in fat, it tastes amazing. Mix well, and when the chicken is almost cooked, add the drained tofu. Crush it with a spatula and fry it until the moisture evaporates. Crush it finely until it's about the same size as minced meat. Once the moisture from the tofu has evaporated and the seasonings have been well absorbed, you can't even tell the difference from minced meat. I tasted it and it was a little bland, so I added a little sugar and soy sauce. When I usually make Soboro, I simply season it with soy sauce and sugar. But today's seasoning is definitely better. The umami of the miso, oyster sauce, and shantan is amazing. Let's reduce the calories by adding cabbage. Put the Soboro on top of this. Add plenty of green onion as well. This is optional. Finally, top it with an egg yolk. You can omit it or use a fried egg or poached egg. When I saw the finished bowl, it looked a little like natto don, Japanese dish with fermented soybeans. It's also amazing when you add chili oil. Next, let's make a Tori chili bowl. Tori means chicken. We are going to use chicken tenderloin today. You can use chicken breast, but I feel like chicken tenderloin is a little more moist and less dry. Remove the tendon from the chicken and cut into bite-sized pieces. And then finally chop the green onion. I wonder if they call it leek overseas instead of green onion. You can use either one, or you can substitute it with onion. Mince the garlic as well. Arrange the chicken in a fry pan with a little oil and sprinkle with a little salt. Cook it over low heat so it doesn't get tough. By the way, today we are making Tori chili, chicken chili, but in Japan, shrimp chili. Ebi chili is a classic and popular Chinese style dish. Today it's like a chicken version of that shrimp chili. Even though chili is in the name, it's not very spicy in the Japanese style. I imagine it's probably super spicy in China. Once the chicken is cooked, remove it. Add the garlic and a little more oil to the pan. And then add some donburi. If you like it spicy, add more. I like it to be just a little spicy, so I'll keep it on the lower side. Fry over low heat, being careful of the oil sprouting. Fry until the garlic is fragrant. Then add the green onion. Cook the green onion slowly here to soften it and bring out its sweetness. If you're not worried about calories, I think it will be even more delicious if you added a little more oil. Sesame oil is also delicious. Once the green onion is nicely softened, turn off the heat and add the other seasonings. Add the ketchup, shantan, soy sauce, sugar, and water and mix. I was thinking of adding a water and potato starch mixture, but I decided not to because the ketchup will probably make it stick to the chicken well. Return the chicken to the pan and coat it well with the sauce. And it's done. This chicken is also super addictive. Eggs go really well with this seasoning. To get more protein, I made a fluffy omelette. I made it about the size of the bowl. Place the egg on a bowl of rice and cabbage. Then top it with the chicken and it looks really colorful. Pour plenty of sauce over it and enjoy. These leaves are kaiwara daikon sprout. Next, let's make a chicken sukiyaki bowl. Sukiyaki is usually made with thinly sliced beef, but chicken sukiyaki is also amazingly delicious and much healthier. Sukiyaki often uses shungiku, which have a pretty strong smell, but I'm going to use green beans instead today. This is probably easier for people overseas to get their hands on, and it might go better with chicken. Shungiku have a strong bitterness, but it becomes milder when cooked, and it goes so well with the sukiyaki flavor, so I recommend using it if you can find it. It also makes the dish look beautiful with the green color. And let's add some carrots too. I'm going to make them into cute flower shapes. After cutting out the flower shape with a cookie cutter, I'll make 5 grooves with a knife to create the petals. Negi is also an essential ingredient for sukiyaki. It becomes very sweet when cooked slowly. And then let's prepare the yakitofu. Yakitofu is made by grilling pressed tofu until it's browned on both sides. Since it's made with well-drained tofu, it doesn't fall apart easily and the flavor sucks in well. If you can't find it at the supermarket, you can make it yourself. Just press firm tofu well to remove the water and lightly brown it in a fry pan. And the star of the dish is the chicken. Remove the skin and any excess fat, then cut into bite-sized pieces. Next, let's prepare the shirataki noodles. Shirataki are noodles made from konjac, and they are often used in Japanese similar dishes like oden and sukiyaki. After draining the water, boil them in boiling water for about 2 minutes before adding them to the sukiyaki pot. They might have a bit of an unpleasant smell when you first open the package, but they smell really good after boiling. Cut them into bite-sized pieces with scissors after draining the water. There is a bit too much, so I'll save some for making nikujaga, meat and potato stew another day. Put the negi, carrot, and shirataki in the pot. And add water. Add soy sauce, sake, and sugar, and mix well. Then cover and simmer for a while. Reduce the heat to low once it comes to a boil. I cooked the carrots beforehand because I wanted them to be somewhat soft before adding the chicken. Bring it to a boil again and add the chicken. Lightly salt the chicken. And add the tofu too. The most important thing is to let these ingredients absorb the flavor of the soup well. Just be careful not to cook it for too long, as the chicken will become tough. Once the chicken is cooked, turn off the heat and let it sit for a while. The flavor will seep in as it cools. Konjac is originally an ingredient that doesn't absorb flavor easily, but if you cook it like this, the shirataki will also turn brown and absorb the flavor well, making it delicious. Since green beans cook quickly, add them about 2 minutes before turning off the heat. Turn off the heat after 10 minutes. If you don't have much time, you can eat it right away. But if you make it during the day and turn off the heat to let the flavor melt and then eat it for dinner, it'll be perfect. Cabbage is a bit of an unusual combination for sukiyaki, but since this bowl is so big, I think we need to bulk it up with cabbage. Arrange the chicken and other sukiyaki ingredients on top of it. I'm happy that yaki tofu is especially high in protein per gram. Arrange the negi, carrot, and green beans nicely. And finally, top it with pickled ginger, and it's done. Lastly, let's make a Yamitsuki chicken bowl. Yamitsuki means addictive. Today, I'm going to make an addictive bowl using chicken breast and a slightly unusual combination of sauces. Before turning on the heat, add mayonnaise to the fry pan. By the way, this is half-calorie mayonnaise. Add mirin, mentoyu. It's Japanese noodle soup base. Doubanjan. And sugar to this. If you don't have mentoyu, you can mix soy sauce, mirin, and a little dashi powder, or just soy sauce. Mix well. Then turn on the heat and add the chicken. Cook the chicken while letting the flavor of this sauce soak in. The oil in the mayonnaise prevents the chicken from drying out, making it moist and tender. Even a relatively dry part like chicken breast can be eaten moist and tender. Furthermore, the richness and acidity of the mayonnaise bring out the umami of the chicken and deepen the flavor. Using mayonnaise means you don't have to use oil, and it also transforms the sauce into a slightly different type than usual. So it's a win-win situation. Once the chicken is cooked, it's done. Place the chicken on the bowl of rice. Then simmer the remaining sauce in the fry pan. When it starts to boil lightly, it will thicken, so pour it over the chicken and it's perfect. Top it with an egg yolk. And sprinkle with sesame seeds, and it's finished. I forgot to sprinkle some green onions. Which bowl looked the most delicious to you? Please let me know in the comments.